great. It's been a wild ride, like you said. You know, we're really grateful for everything that's come our way. You know, we worked really hard for a long time, but you know, we eventually turned a corner, and it's been like we don't take anything for granted, and we enjoy ourselves. It feels great. It's been a lot of fun.
Democracy works very well, but we have to have reasonable alternatives. Democracy has to present alternatives to the people, particularly at election time.
I think that's what most people find rewarding about politics, is making that kind of an effort that results in assisting somebody who's facing a difficulty.
In the case of policies for children, we know what children need. They primarily need love. They need secure families. That means we really do have to address poverty, particularly for families. We have to make sure that children are the focus of their parents' love and attention, and that parents aren't distracted by significant economic problems.
Because I knew when I began working with children that the philosophy was never underestimate your ability to make a difference in the life of a child. When I was doing my television, it was all about that direct focus to one child who was watching. So it's always been about that, about trying to communicate on a clear and positive manner.
Climb upon my tire swing. I've been thinking about this very thing. It's been a hard day. Bandage off my foot, grab a handful of rocks and put them on the sidewalk. Oh, if I told you yesterday's news, would you complain? If I told you I was a little ashamed.
When I moved home to Nova Scotia, I used to have these reoccurring dreams when I was pregnant with Cole. I would travel back to Australia searching for his father, my belly swollen and my pockets empty. Of course, the only places hiring were bars, and they wouldn't give me a job because I couldn't fit into their Britney Spears outfit. So in the end, I was alone. I look back at that time of my life and I realized two things. One, I was never alone. And two, our lives and our destinies are in our own hands. We all have to take responsibility for what we bring into our lives and the choices that we make. I chose to grow a life inside of me. And it was the faith that I had in myself and the world that allowed me to blindly walk forward and embrace whatever came my way. And that blind faith led me to abundance.
My grandson was born 2 years ago, and ever since 2 years, I came alive again. He made me come alive because I have an illness, a couple actually, and well, you know, anyone that has an illness looks to the wrong end of life, and he made me look towards the right end, I would say.
I was no longer talking about something that was theoretical. Oh yes, I'm going to be a mother. You can talk about it, but until you actually feel it. That was the first moment I felt I'm a mother. Oh my God, there's a person living in my womb. And I went back to work that day, and I remember all I could hear in my head was that ba-boom, 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 and I was two people instead of one.
My grandmother didn't go to school. My mom went to school only up to grade 3. So I didn't want to live the life my grandmother lived and my mother lived. So I knew from the day one that I knew what I want to be. I wanted to be a teacher or a nurse, and no one was going to stop me. I had to go against the culture. And for your own information, I was the first girl in my clan to complete high school. I was the first girl to pass high school. I was the first girl to get a master's degree. I am the first woman to get a PhD and the first woman to be a professor in the whole village where I come from. I think one advice I would like to give to new immigrants is that when they arrive in a community, for example, a community like Antigonish is so small, and you move around, you see the same people, but you don't really know them. But every time you say, wow, that person is a familiar. So they become familiar strangers. And guess what? The advice I would give people if you move to a small community is extend your hand and reach to the familiar stranger, so that the familiar stranger becomes a friend in need and a friend to help and a friend to help you.
It comes around again, oh wow.